Hi, Hamish Conway here, and welcome to another episode of TACOS Tuesday. This is episode 70, and by the way, Happy New Year. Welcome back, and I hope you had a great break. And at the time of this coming out, I'm actually still personally having a break, and so is Sebastian. He's off in the wilderness there and out of contact. So what we're going to do in this episode here is we're mashing together a couple of episodes. Episode 7, which is how creatives impact Amazon ads performance, and also around ad creatives. And we've got Kirsten Bryce, our creative director, who is being interviewed, and we've kind of got the best parts of this together. But what I wanted to share with you that's really important is you'll see in the show notes below that we've got a link to this guide here. And so this is Amazon Design Concepts to Turn Lookers into Buyers. And you'll get a digital version of this here. And we've got lots and lots of pages of examples and different design concepts here that you can use. So get your copy of this here. And there's some other great video training there as well from Kirsten on storefronts and on A+ content. So go get your copy of this now at the link below. You just need to put in your name and email, and you'll I think it either downloads straight away or you'll get an email, one of the two. So make sure you do that and enjoy this episode. With ads, you can be sending traffic to poor listings or poor storefronts, and you just burn cash. So if you don't have the creative side of things sorted, then you're really going to love this episode, either if you are just looking at getting started, or if you're already set up and you know you just need to be doing some work on this, or even if you think you've got it good, I think you're going to uncover today some opportunities there for you to improve that conversion rate. So for every click that is made that goes to your product listing, you want to convert more of those. So out of every 100, Amazon I think averages around 10. But if you can get that from 10 to 12 to 15 or even to 20, then that automatically improves your advertising results. When we talk about Amazon ad creative, can you maybe just give the key elements of good Amazon advertising creative, just to see what does Amazon ad creative mean in the context of Amazon ads? We'll start there first.
Different ad types within Amazon. You've got your sponsored products, you've got your sponsored brand. The sponsored brand is split kind of into two sides. You've got video and then just static images, and then you have sponsored display. Each type looks slightly different, but the main differences are that sponsored brand allows you to introduce creative into your advertising.
And so creative being, we've got video, or there can be static images with text in there and certain headlines as well. So it is kind of a bit restrictive in something in terms of the placements. For those listening, there's the headline search, there's the middle of the search, there's inside of product listings, there's the bottom of the search page, and these sort of placements that aren't sponsored products at the top of the search, where actually your ad creative is your hero image. So that's actually your most important ad creative, is your hero image. The first part is getting that click in amongst all that noise, right? And then so people click through onto a product listing. Then what do we got to be taking into account there, and particularly with the image stack, to have people convert?
That's right. So once they get into your listing, you get your what we call your image stack, which is your main product image plus 5 to 6 other images. So your main product image is your white background catalog shot that we've spoken about. The other images that you get are where you can actually kind of bring your product to life. So they can be infographics, they can contain text, they can be colorful, they can have lifestyle images. So I guess it's about considering, you put a lot of time and effort into writing, copy, keywords so that the right people get to your listing. However, a lot of people aren't going to read all of that text. Personally, I probably wouldn't. I'm much more visual, so I'm probably going to flick through the images. So you want people to understand the product, the benefits, those key features, those points of difference, things like has it won awards, or is it certified for something, what's in it, what's not in it. You want to communicate all of that visually. But you don't want to go overboard. So you really need to pull out what's the essence. What do people actually want to know about your product? What's going to convince them to buy? And those are the things that you want to kind of identify and deal with in those images. Avoiding too much text, again, because, you've got a lot of people browsing on mobile. You want them to be able to really quickly, at a scrolling glance, understand the product. And another thing is, this is an e-commerce environment. People can't touch your product. They can't smell it. They can't feel it. They can't use it. So lifestyle images showing people actually using the product is really powerful, because by doing that, you enable your shopper to imagine themselves using the product. And if someone's looking happy using the product, they're going to think, I'm going to feel happy using the product. It's all about that emotional connection. Answering questions like, if you know that there's common questions people have about how to use your product or what's in your product or what is it compatible with, just depending what it is. If there's common questions or pain points, this is a great place to answer those. All those barriers to purchase, you can remove a lot of those and make people feel much more confident in what they're purchasing. And I guess the other thing to think about with lifestyle images and in-use images is understanding who your demographic is, making sure that your imagery speaks to your target demographic. If it's a product for kids, make sure you show mums and kids together. Or, if it's a product for an older age group, make sure you show people that are in that target demographic. So that's about understanding your product, understanding what people are looking for, what their questions might be about it, and and actually answering that, but doing it in a visual way that is in line with your brand, that's always consistent with the way you present your brand everywhere else, so that people are confident, in their purchase and that they're purchasing it from the real person.
Yeah. So there's a few points there, isn't there? And just touching on that last one, consistency. So you want it to be obvious that it's from your brand, and so if people go from your website to Amazon, they go, oh, this is the one.
Yeah.
This is the same, or vice versa. If they bounce back, that's really important. And then there is that, you talk about answering those questions, and the psychology of a buyer is every buyer has some questions or concerns that they need answered. Like they've got to have all these green ticks there that until they're ticked, they won't be purchasing. So your job is to, put yourself into the shoes of your customer and go, well, what are those questions or concerns? You might have, in fact, just read your reviews. There'll be some good insight there, or competitor reviews as well. But, it's making sure you tick off all those things. So, because it is a bit like a storyboard, isn't it? Like, back in our day, the old TV commercials, where they'd storyboard and you got 30 seconds to like kind of pitch the product and hit all those touch points. It's probably a bit like that with Amazon, as people, maybe even less time though. Like as people are scrolling, you got the 6 there. You've got to go, bang, answer that, and certainly in the concepts guide that we've got, where you can even have one image in 4 parts, and it might be step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. That's how you use it. That looks good. Or this is what's not in it. It might have the ingredients list, but it's gluten-free, sugar-free, artificial sugars, or anything that does. People in one shot, one image, people are like, okay, good.
Absolutely.
It ticks that box.
No, that's right. It really is about understanding. And I think, when you have a product or you sell a product, you're very close to it, and you need to almost take a step back and imagine being the customer, because they may want to know things you assume people might know or that you think are important might not actually be the things that your customers are needing to know. And I think, Hamish, you touched on, reading, if you are already selling on Amazon and you're looking to optimize your content, then reading your own reviews is really valuable, but also reading competitor reviews and things that people are commonly calling out, maybe as a problem with other products. How do you solve that problem for them? Or what is the point of difference with your product as opposed to the competition, and really highlighting that. And it's like anything. You want to put the most important information in the first 2 to 3 images, because people move quickly. They move quickly online. They move quickly on Amazon. They might not get to the end of your image stack. They might not read all your copy. So it's just about making sure you prioritize, so that people, even if they only look at those first 2 or 3 images, actually really understand and they feel confident, and then they keep moving through the listing. And that's what we're trying to achieve, is we want to keep them on this listing, sell them this product, and get them to click that buy now button at the bottom of the page.
Like any creative, it's just got to be clear messaging, strong visuals, and relevant to the target audience. I think that goes across the board for for any type of creative. That's clear messaging, strong visuals, and relevant to the target audience is going to hold you in good stead.
Okay, and actually, just On the video point, what are you noticing on Amazon Australia in particular? Let's just look at that and then maybe, contrast with the USA. Are there, what percentage of brands are actually using sponsor brand video on the platform, do you think?
Yeah, I think a lot of brands are using sponsored brand video. In AU, not as much. I think that they're the creatives or teams that haven't kind of come to the party yet. And typically, what you'll hear from other other areas is that sponsored brand video is very expensive, and you kind of saw that in the click cost, the CPC cost. But in AU, it's still very new, and so it's still a really great opportunity. Like sometimes in like the US market, for example, it's sometimes 3 times is more expensive for sponsored brand video. So AU still has a lot of upside potential on the video side, just because it's a new market and not as many people utilizing it.
Now, I do notice that there's a lot of, like in some categories, there's only 1 or 2 or at most 3 brands using video. And so this here, like if you're in advertising in Australia, this is going to be really useful because if you do this, then it is a massive advantage in terms of getting more eyeballs on your products. So let's just talk about capturing attention with video ads. Like how do people structure these ads?
Yep. So using dynamic visuals or bold headlines, again, like keeping that really clear messaging in your video, incorporating engaging audio and clear value propositions right away. So most of the time, Amazon is bottom of funnel. Okay. Not all videos need to be created that way, but most of them do. So you're really trying to get to the point.
Yeah. Not confusing, not confusing people. So, I mean, give us an example of what,
Yeah.
what could
so
work.
we wrote down this example. So it's like you've got a fitness tracker and an ad opens with a high energy clip of someone running, paired with an animated heartbeat graphic, showing them showing them that heartbeat graphic and a tagline that says boost your workout to instantly grab attention. Because the audio, even though we've said incorporate engaging audio, most of the videos will play with no audio on. So you really want to use visuals to capture attention. That you want them to be scroll stopping so that you don't just scroll straight past them.
Really important point, right? Because not many people are listening to the audio, but you got to have it there. Video on TikTok and in particular is really, really strong. On Amazon, obviously, I mean, it is different. But what about the role of storytelling in video ads?
Yeah, I think this one's really dependent on the type of product it is. We have seen what we call UGC, which is user-generated content, sometimes do really well on Amazon, other times not so well. But really what you're trying to do is trigger emotions. You want to basically build that emotion into the video. So we've got an example here, a video for a blender that tells a story of a busy mum making healthy meals, basically showing her the impact that it could have on her life by saving her time and making her life simpler. She's busy, she's tired, most likely she wants a simple, easy outcome. If you can show that in an emotional way, emotional buys are obviously going to be the best way to get customers engaged.
So we've got client OXO. So if you go into Amazon Australia, put an OXO, and you're going to see some products that are in the dollars kind of category there, but they're simple, but they do show the outcome from using that measuring jug, using that potato slicer, using those tongs, and again, there's the logic part for some products like that, but the more expensive the product, then you've got to bring in more of that
the
emotional connection.
And cheap products like that, most people are just interested in, again, like how they operate, like how does this actually work or whatnot, and particularly if they're kind of not mainstream type of product necessarily as well, like there might be some education as part of the product that you need to include.
Okay, so what about leveraging user-generated content?
Yep, so authenticity is the number one thing about user-generated content, and so you want it to be as authentic as possible. There's a lot of user-generated content that goes around that feels very forced. Generally, that stuff won't do very well. You want it to be, really, really authentic, and that's the key. So it actually can be way less polished with the video because it doesn't need that polish. That polish actually makes it look more commercial. Yeah, so having UGC, it doesn't mean that it's a terrible video, like as in not watchable. It just means that you want it to have a little bit of that authenticity, give it credibility and relatability to the audience that it's that it's going to. So normally when someone searches something, they're it kind of gives you an indication of how educated they are on the product they're looking for. So, for example, if someone searches the term fan, that is very, very broad. There are a lot of different types of fans. There's pedestal fans, there's desk fans, there's handheld fans, there's portable fans, there's so many different types of fans. So when someone searches fan, we have no idea what type of fan they're looking for. And so if we were to serve, for example, a video ad on all the benefits of a pedestal fan on the term fan, we could be educating a customer that doesn't care about pedestal fans. Like, I'm not here to buy a pedestal fan. So what you need to be thinking about is when you are serving these types of creatives, what is the intent of that search term, and then kind of matching that up. So for a term like fan, what we would be better off doing is serving an ad that showed a whole range of our products and just said, hey, we do pedestal fans, desk fans, handheld fans, portable fans, whatever fan you want, we've got it. Come have a look at our store. Whereas if someone was looking at pedestal fans, we don't want to serve that kind of ad because they don't care about the desk fan. They don't care about our range. They're now just wanting to know, why is our pedestal fan better than all the other pedestal fans? So now we get right into the features and benefits. So we want to talk about ours is, it's taller, it's faster, it's got better air circulation. It's whatever the benefits are of the product.
Yeah, really, really good tip, right? And I mean, if you're just starting out, you don't have many video ads, you've got to be more selective on where you are targeting video ads, because there might be something that's just not actually worth your while. But the more specific it is, the better. There's relevancy, right? That's what Amazon is all about. Whatever the search term is, then the relevancy of the ad and the offers, and therefore a high conversion rate. That's what Amazon loves, and that's how you get a better bestseller ranking, and that's the whole point. Also, looking at the storefront side of things.
Yes.
Seb, when does a storefront come into play from an advertising point of view, and how do people get there through the ads?
Yeah, there's two ways to get there. There's obviously on the product detail page at the top, just below the title, there's a link that you can click on that'll take you through the store. It is pretty, unless you know your way around Amazon, it can be a bit tricky to get there that way. But the other main way is through what we call a sponsored brand headline ad. Now, those will show, if you went and searched up any result right now on Amazon, you would see the first ad that you would see would be one of these. It would be called a sponsored brand headline ad. It comes with its own custom creative, and also it can be like a product collection, so a bunch of products, or it can be to stores. And if you click on those headline ads, you'll go through to the store pages. We use headline ads quite often. I think I've mentioned it in a previous episode that it's very good for when you've got a lot of products that you need to showcase all of them. Also really good just for awareness. They're very, like I said, they're the first ad that you're ever going to see. So you get a lot of awareness from those type of ads where people see your product, like generic terms where people are entering something that they're not sure yet what they want to buy. Showing a headline ad helps educate them that they're like, hey, we're an option inside this category or inside this search term.
Yeah, so it's kind of a little bit higher up the funnel, as it were, in terms of that buying journey, but you can pull them in to the storefront. So the storefront, Kirsten, do you want to, I mean, a bunch of people will know what it is, but how do we really get the storefront to convert? What are you looking to do there?
So the storefront, I mean, it's a fantastic place for your brand on Amazon because it is yours. And once you get there, even if you come there from an ad, that's the last ad you'll see while you're in that storefront. So it is your web page, or your website, in fact, on Amazon with its own URL, which you can also send external traffic to as well. So you can use your external traffic sources to get people into your brand on Amazon in this sort of captive place. So I often approach it much like looking at your off Amazon, your e-commerce website or your website. So it's a selling tool. So you want to utilize having those points to purchase, especially for commonly searched products, quite high up on that homepage. How you structure your storefront really depends on your catalog size and your groupings of products. We've got some sellers that have a very small range. We just go sometimes just with a one-page storefront because most people spend the most amount of dwell times usually on the homepage anyway. So if you can get everything in that page, fantastic. If you've got a much larger catalog, you can build out quite a complex storefront on Amazon. You can have multiple pages and multiple levels of sub-pages. But for me, it's kind of thinking about, again, It's about that journey. So on the homepage, you can have interactive elements on the storefront. I guess that's a really key point because Amazon is quite static. There are touch points for video. Video can be on the storefront. So you can have longer videos that are click to play. You can have auto play videos. So those are shorter videos, less than 20 seconds that are automatically moving when someone hits the page. Really good for getting attention and keeping attention. You've got things like shoppable images on there. So the sort of things that people are getting used to on other social media and website platforms, Amazon's introduced into their storefront. So it is more interactive. It gets people more engaged. You can design it to work on mobile and desktop. So there's options for some of the images to create a mobile version so you get a much better viewing experience. So the homepage you might have you might hit with an autoplay video at the top to capture attention and kind of get across some of that key brand messaging. You might have some of your, top selling products or new product releases positioned quite high up the page. You then might sort of have a visual navigation to push people into the different product collections or different categories, and those being other pages on the storefront. Some of the other sub pages tend to just traditionally be just a product grid where Amazon basically populates it with the listing links and the buy now buttons and things. And that seems to work really well. You don't need to over design every sub page in the storefront, but focusing on those top level pages is really important to make an enjoyable experience and to really get people to move around into the different categories and find what they're looking for. You can also group products into quite cleverly. So I had a client that was doing supplements and healthcare products. So you can have those grouped by brand, but then you could also have them grouped by the sort of health concern people might be searching for. So the products might show on different sub pages, but what that allows you to do is not only help in the navigation when they're on the storefront, but I think, see, from an advertising perspective, you can also advertise to those particular messages and send people to sub pages on the storefront. So if you've got people, say, specifically looking for kids vitamins, you could send them into the sort of page that has all the kids stuff on the storefront. They can still navigate around the rest of it, but they've hit a product page that's got really relevant products to them.
Yeah, so targeting, so when you do the headline ad, it could go to a sub page. It doesn't always have to go to the homepage is the key thing. And I think the key point with directing traffic to a storefront is it's a competition-free zone. Obviously, if they click through into a listing, then it's still a listing with competition, but at least that opportunity is where you haven't got other ads from competing brands in around the page. We understand that we need to have our product listings optimized, storefront, A+ content, but Kirsten, I've got a huge catalog. How do I actually decide where to start? What's the kind of the triage approach that you look at when it comes to big catalogs?
There's a few ways you can approach it. So you could approach by just optimizing your best sellers first and kind of seeing what difference that actually makes to your conversion rates. Or conversely, you could choose to optimize some of the ones that you really, maybe new products or products that are a bit unknown that you really want to push into the market. But at the end of the day, with a big catalog, it's a big job. So the way we approach it is to kind of create a template that you're going to follow for each product. So say for your image stack, you're going to just say you're going to have your hero image, and you're going to have 2 panels that maybe speak specifically to that product. And that leaves you with about another 3 panels. So we might do a sort of range panel in there, which can be used across multiple products. You might do one that's a brand-centric panel that really just speaks to the brand as a whole. You also have a slot for video up in the image stack as well. So you may want to put in a brand video or a product range video. And then you can roll that out and you're only needing to change out sort of 2 or 3 images per image stack, but you're still giving Amazon an optimized image stack. You're still filling all those slots, which it likes. It is good to optimize your listing and to fill those image stacks. The same can be said for A+ content. There is no need to design a different A+ content for every product in your catalog. One A+ design should be able to cover a number of product ranges. You could do range panels and just speak to kind of the selling points of the key features of each of those. You could potentially change out that comparison chart that we spoke about to be more specific. If you've got a massive catalog, you might not even go there because you might just populate that with 6 best sellers. There's different way to approach it. It is possible to take a large catalog and still really optimize it and make it feel like each product's been given the love and attention without doing the work on every listing. And yeah, it all goes back to that beginning point, making sure that you have really good product photography to start with, that's for all of the products. When people search your brand or go to your storefront, it is about that consistency of the look and feel. No one wants to, buy the product that's kind of been left behind, sitting dusty in the corner. It all needs to look, on brand. And so that's kind of where the very starting point. And, simple things like making sure your brand is presented, like we've talked about consistently, putting your logo in there, making it recognizable so people start to recognize products and across a brand, and it runs into the storefront. And if people jump out of Amazon to go to your website or look at reviews somewhere else, so that whole journey, they feel confident in you and your brand. So yeah, large catalogs, it is possible. Australia is a little bit behind probably content-wise when you look at the US, but it's changing. And a lot of US listings are showing in Australia. It's not a, you really need to, all that time and money that's invested into websites and marketing campaigns, that needs to be funneled into Amazon, because the visual experience on Amazon is probably one of the key elements of people in that journey that they're taking there.
Yeah, it's interesting. People will invest a ton in their websites and other design, but then they ignore Amazon. But actually Amazon, the amount of eyeballs that are already on your product or could be on your product and your brand is staggering, often way higher than what the website would be, because of that organic piece. So it is one for people to take really seriously. And even when the work is done there, a lot of that can be used on other marketplaces and your own socials, or even on your own website, that you can repurpose it as well. So there's a couple of things I've been thinking as we're talking through this, really, like some homework for those listening, is to go to Amazon. If it's Australia, go to Amazon Australia, look at your category, type in the key search terms for some of your products and just see what's coming up. Are you seeing ads there? Also have a look at it on your mobile as well, because I think what you notice there is how much they stand out, even more so on your mobile. But do some research, see what your competition's doing, see what's happening in the category. If it's Australia and noticing there's none or very little, then that's awesome. Really get in there with the sponsor brand video. And if it's in the US, you might even be doing sponsor brand video, but you check the quality. How does it stack up compared to what else you're seeing? And then start to map out, okay, what are the priority videos that you do need to put together? And whilst you have, for the different stages of the journey, you're going to have a brand, and each product that you want to be focusing on should have its own video there, or maybe a group of products that makes sense to have together. But start mapping that out. If you do want to have a conversation about what you are creating, then do message probably more Seb than myself, and that is something that we can we have a conversation about. We've got an in-house design team here. Don't always make videos, but it depends on some of the raw assets you've got. But we can, that is something we do for a number of our clients and doing the ad creatives. That's a really solid idea, because the numbers speak for themselves. So you do want to be considering this, because it's getting people onto your product page. You can then retarget them, and it's growing your brand. And as we look at this year, more and more brands are going to realize that they need to be using Amazon far more in their marketing mix, so particularly in consumer product goods. We see this in America all the time. Brands are spending a lot on Amazon, and even if it's not, showing profitability on the platform itself, they're doing it because it's supporting them in other retail channels as well. And that is going to shift. It hasn't happened yet in Australia, but I guarantee you it will, as brands they realize they actually get a really good return on investment from the Amazon ads in Australia, and it's an area that they're going to be putting more and more money behind. So don't be left behind, and get in there now and get the data and learn and just get better and better at it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode there. A bit of a flashback to episode 7 and episode 30 there with Kirsten Bryce. She is amazing. She's been doing this Amazon design for 8+ years now, and she really knows what works from a customer journey point of view. So I hope you enjoyed that. Now, make sure you go to the show link there to get your guide of the Amazon design concepts. You'll get a digital copy of this, and you can use it like a flip book and for inspiration. Lots of different concepts there. So make sure you go and get that there now. You'll really enjoy that, and some other video training there from Kirsten as well. So thanks for tuning in again. And next week, Sebastian and myself will be back on deck and sharing our predictions for 2026. And it's going to be a big year. We're really excited about it, and I hope you are too. Okay, all the best.